Welcome to some new r/petty revenge stories, where people share small victories over those that wronged them. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called A Promise. It was January 2022. A new wave of the virus devastated the workforce in the major cities here. On average, about half the workforce for any industry was homesick for about a week at the same time. Shelves in supermarkets were unstocked because there weren't enough workers to keep them full. The number of bus routes was cut in half. And the list goes on. At my retail store, all but 2 of us were sick. With 2 people on staff, we couldn't get to everything, so we had to decide what parts of the job we'd neglect. Most of our revenue is from online sales, so we decided to close the store and focus on dispatching online orders. We still had to answer phone calls and emails though, so we were very stressed. This was only happening in the major cities. Of course, more rural locations dodged the major disruptions. One day, I got a call from a customer. He placed an online order the day prior and paid for express post, but noticed it hadn't been sent. He called and asked why it hadn't been sent. I looked at his account and saw he lived in a rural town hours away. "Hi, I placed an order yesterday with express post. Why hasn't it been sent yet?" "I'm very sorry, there are only 2 of us on staff because of the virus, and we are doing the best we can to keep up with the online orders. But I paid for express." Yes, and as I explained, there are only 2 of us on staff. We've had to close the store, and there are a lot of orders to pack, and we pack them from oldest to newest. We are trying our best. "Well, your best isn't good enough. I paid for express, it should have been sent out by now." My best wasn't good enough? What an absolute piece of junk. At this point, I had dealt with enough stress, so I let him have it. Paying for express doesn't mean we pack the order faster. It means that once the courier has it, they deliver it to you faster. That extra money you spend doesn't go to me or this company, it goes to the courier. There are orders older than yours. They have priority, they have waited longer than you and will be packed first. I don't care, you need to ship it today. I can't promise that. Do you have any idea what the virus has done to the workforce here? No, and I don't care. If you don't ship my order today, I promise I'll never shop with you again. I genuinely laughed out loud at that. I literally could not care less. It's no skin off my nose. At that point, I hung up. For the entree of my revenge, I purposely skipped his order, even though I caught up to it. It got sent the next day. The main course, though, was tasty. I blocked his account so that he couldn't shop with us again. He promised he wouldn't, so I wanted to make sure he didn't break his promise. He tried to though. He made another account. I recognized the name and confirmed it was him through the shipping address. I cancelled the order and processed the refund. For revenge's dessert, I did something truly petty. When you process a refund, you reverse the payment made by the debit card. You can put a note in it when you do so the customer knows why their money is reappearing in their bank. The note I put was, to have you keep your promise. The next story is called Only in Person. We lived in another country for a few years and opened an account with major bank to get paid, pay bills, etc. We eventually moved back to our home country. We kept the major bank account open for a few months to make sure all our outstanding bills were paid, and to wait to convert all our foreign currency to home currency at a better exchange rate than what the foreign currency was languishing at the time. After the eventual currency exchange and repatriation to our home country accounts, my wife tried to close the account. Major bank insisted that we could only do so in person. This is problematic because we now live very far away. Thousands upon thousands of kilometers. Well, you could also appear in person at our overseas branch located in major city. Oh sure, that would only take us 2 days to drive, hundreds in gas, and an overnight stay in a hotel in major city at hundreds per night to appear in person. Yeah, great idea. Maybe we'll fly and get it all done in 1 day for the low price of nearly 1,000. For reasons not entirely clear to me, when we transferred the money from major bank to the currency exchange company, we ended up with the equivalent of 75 cents left in the major bank account. So since we are not willing to spend hundreds of thousands to recover a few cents, we just didn't close the account. The 75 cents are still there. There are no fees or anything that we can see on our statements. That they paper mail to us half a world away every month and have for years now. I mean, I could probably go paperless, but it seems I have forgotten my password by now on this account I never use. The third story is called Keeping Emails. I work for a medical equipment company, specifically in the contracting department. We handle the paperwork for million-dollar instruments globally, and I handle half of the United States in my territory. It can be challenging, and if a customer fails to sign an agreement, it can cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars a day if something breaks. And if they fail to sign because of me, then that can fire back on the company, because we might have to pay for the repair ourselves. This hasn't ever happened yet, just a potential consequence. So I'm fastidious about my work. Half an hour ago, I got an email from one of my account managers. We'll call him Hank. The subject line wasn't directly hostile, but it was marked important and listed a bigger account. Hank emailed me wanting to know why our contract hadn't gotten to the customer. Basically asking, "This is way past due and it's your fault. Care to explain yourself?" He CC'd his boss and my supervisors, so they could all see my big mistake. I dug and looked, and he was right. The customer's contract expired 8 months ago. After a little more digging, I found out he emailed me about this customer's equipment last September. So I reread the email chain. It was a conversation from half a year ago after all. Luckily for me, I keep all my emails filed perfectly, account by account, and even color-coded in each folder based on info and subject. It's tedious, but it can definitely come in handy if I ever need to look back for any reason. Then I sent him a response. "Hey Hank, these are the 2 equipment pieces you asked about back in September, correct? The ones that were outside my scope? In the last email I saw from you about that, attached, you said you were putting together a contract for that equipment. My team doesn't handle these types of contracts, which I confirmed for you in the attached email from 10/22. If I've let something slip through the cracks here, don't hesitate to ask. Always happy to help." I then attached the email where I told him I wouldn't be handling this because it wasn't my job. I also attached the email where he acknowledged I was correct and said he would handle this himself. I kept both of our supervisors CC'd. After all, he'd been the one who added them. I basically told him, "You did ask about that, and we determined it was in no way my job and definitely something you should handle. You said you'd handle that 6 months ago. Did you not handle it like you said you would?" In front of our bosses. And now Hank's boss can start his day by reading about how Hank promised a customer a contract half a year ago and then never followed through. I suspect that Hank will be meeting with his boss in a few hours to discuss this. It's gonna be a tough day for Hank. The last story is called Out of Spite. This happened a few years ago. I was working for a company where we would regularly have to put on harnesses to work in certain locations. The company had invested in a few harnesses for the entire team, but one of my coworkers would constantly claim that one particular harness was theirs. They would yell at or shame anybody who dared to use their harness. To be fair, they did use this harness more than most of us, but it was never strictly theirs as they didn't pay for it. Essentially, this person just wanted to keep it sized to their body, so they wouldn't have to spend time adjusting the straps again. Fast forward a bit, and they have yet again berated another coworker for using their harness, so I decided to take matters into my own hands. Whenever possible, I would walk past this particular harness and loosen as many straps just to spite them. Thankfully, they left the company not too long afterward, and we no longer have to deal with their daily BS. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.